Wazoo! Hello. Welcome back to Elden Ring Nightreign. So, the Balancers boss actually got an Everdark Sovereign variant, so I decided to fight them. Now, this is a voiceover after the fact, because I first saw this in the afternoon, and it gets pretty loud here in the afternoon. So, really difficult to record and actually talk. So I didn't want to do that, but I also didn't want to wait several hours. So I figured play, record, don't talk, just do a voiceover after the fact. That'll be the best thing to do here. Now, there may or may not be an audio delay. If there is, I'm sorry, that was an OBS thing. I actually got a pop-up for an update as of this voiceover recording that said that it fixed that, so hopefully that will not be an issue. And if you couldn't tell, yeah, things are a little different on the Everdark Sovereign variant. So this was my very first attempt, and I'm mostly going to not really give my thoughts just yet in terms of the balancing and what I'm personally a fan of. But in case you couldn't tell, this boss, normally it's very clean, it's very tidy. They're pretty slow, all things considered. And they just have this angelic flow to them in the normal variant. But here, with the Everdark Sovereign, they become much more chaotic, much more fast-paced, and then you occasionally get this giant worm thing. And I fought this version at the time of voiceover, I believe 6 times. I've won twice. I know for a fact that I've won twice. But that worm, section of the fight, I have yet to figure out. Every time it's taken me 3+ flasks. So the worm part is very difficult. But here, when you're just dealing with the 7 angel things, whatever you want to call them, I mean, it's a lot more chaotic. They're a lot more aggressive. Their moves are a lot faster. They don't move in quite the same way. As you can see, the AoEs on the ground and whatnot are more spread out. And so they're definitely a lot more dangerous than in the normal version. But for me personally, the vast majority of the difficulty actually comes from this worm thing. if it was just them, like just the 7 angels in their bloody form, I'd say that the balancers would still be definitely on the easier side. Not the easiest. Everdark Sovereign, as I personally believe that Gaping Jaw is the easiest. By a decent bit, actually. But yeah, as you can see, we're having a rough time here. Mostly on the worm form. But once the 7... I feel like it'd be best to call them the Bloody Angels at this point. Here, I figured probably better to crawl up on top of this ridge, so it would be just a little easier for Iron Eye to see us. And they got hit, but as you can see, even alone, they're having an easier time. Like, there's only really one that was going after them. So, they're not too difficult. And final flask. But again, most of my flask uses came from the worm. Speak of the devil. I actually recorded these runs like a week ago, and I haven't been able to do the voice recording until now. Purely because of my sleep schedule. Like I said, can't really do voiceovers or talk while recording until nighttime. Yeah, that down was just me not knowing the timing. But that shot is very, very nice. Even though we're down, it's one of the best backgrounds for the Nightlord. And as you can see, the worm sprouts like a flower thing, and then rains a bunch of blood loss down. But eventually they go away. Pretty sure going from the worm to the Bloody Angels is just like a timing thing. Because they seem to go back and forth on their own. You might need to hit a certain point to get the worm the first time, but besides that, it's just a timing thing, I'm pretty sure. Here, I thought to use this because that skill gets you some health back, but right near the very, very end, I choked it. Unfortunate. But here, decided to show this off. Just showing everything that I have. Which, yeah, that arrow's reach. I got that at the very beginning of day 1. Which was very nice. And then my relics. I really should have an additional skill use. I don't, but I really should. As you can see, we are rocking double Iron Eye, along with an Undertaker. And again, Balancers. Now, in case you're curious, this isn't just going to be the boss fight a bunch of times. After this, we're going to be doing a full expedition because I got to see the new map and something a little funny happened that I wanted to show off. But yeah, as you can see here, this phase 1 is just like the normal version, and as you can see, they're very passive, they're very slow and floaty, and yeah, they're really easy, at least in that first phase. In the second phase, they get harder, even on the normal version. And second phase here with the Bloody Angels, they also get a lot more difficult. I'll say here, personal opinion, I actually think that the Bloody Angels are easier than the phase 2 of the normal version. Maybe that's just because Balancers get, like, hyper aggressive with me, and I'm constantly dodging combos endlessly. But this worm, for me personally, is a lot harder than anything in the normal version has. Not because of this, because that attack is actually pretty easy to dodge, but it's mostly the shockwaves that it sends out. I was just trying to see if I can pop those. But yeah, that shockwave attack, along with the blood loss buildup thing it does near the end. This like golden shockwaves that it does, very fast, but it's not the hardest thing in the world to dodge. Yeah, you can see I was very far away, but still just instant blood loss. To my knowledge, there's very little you can do about that, which is unfortunate. Maybe I'll find something to do. But yeah, teammate choked there. But as you can see, they really aren't that aggressive. Which is why I say that the Bloody Angels aren't as difficult, in my opinion. Because they scream and they're all bloody looking, and sometimes they'll sprint at you. Like that. But when they sprint at you, they pretty much always do this one poke attack, which is very easy to dodge, especially as Iron Eye with the mark. And that was a big combo that I thought wouldn't hit me. Had a bit more range though. Like a bit more range than I thought. But yeah, despite the intimidation, for the most part, the Bloody Angels really aren't too aggressive. And so I really think it's just the worm that makes things difficult. And yeah, as you can see there, just instantly half my health bar. And I probably would have been able to dodge that if I wasn't trying to focus on reviving a teammate. But the attacks are hard to dodge. At least some of them. Like when they jump into the air and slam down. Here I was just trying to avoid that attack. Because as you can see, just like nearly my entire health bar, and then another chunk after that. So, yeah. But as you can see, two of them ran after him, but only one attack. And that combo is kind of scary, but as you can see, they're really not that bad. It's just the worm. But the worm takes a ton of health from you. A ton of flasks. And here, it just kind of broke. And I was worried that I was having some kind of connection issue. But balance disrupted. Victory. Second try. So that was a victory. And then here, like I said, full run. We drop down. We decide to instantly mark this guy. And yeah, having a Wilder on your team is just very good. And teammate immediately died. And I was kind of talking to myself during this run as if I wasn't muted. And at the moment, I was saying, I'm not too worried about that. Because the Caden sellswords kinda hit hard. And sometimes it's easy to just underestimate how squishy you are at level 1. So a teammate going down instantly doesn't worry me. But if they go down again, that's when I'll start to get a little worried. Because at least when I'm not playing Iron Eye, sometimes I'll go down to like the first enemy or first early boss we see. And then go, oh yeah, that's right, I'm super squishy. That I have to play more careful. And then I don't go down again. Like until the Nightlord fight. So one death doesn't worry me. Here I saw that the Flame of Frenzy appeared, and I was trying to figure out where to go, and I figured I'm going to go with Wilder. Because I tend to trust Wilder players. Call that biased, but I trust Wilder players. Here popped Madness, but it was fine. Got a clarifying bullets. Decided to eat that, and since he was down here, I decided to go up. because there's 3 up here every time. And we did it. And I was just showing that we have purple balancers again. And physical damage negation. And I decided to drop that and pin it. Because a lot of Wilder players seem to like that weapon. I personally don't understand it, but whenever a Wilder player gets their hands on it, they use it, from what I've seen, so decided to drop it to him. And he actually dropped one to show me that he already had one. But a dual wielding is a thing. And he pinned this. I looked at the map and saw the church. Didn't realize he was going after a boss first until it was too late. But I figured, ah well, that's one small boss missed. I can just hit these 2 churches back to back very quickly. And I saw a crystal there, just to the north. So grabbed that flask, decided to run over, hit this crystal. So that'd be a little useful to the team. And I decided, since I'm waiting for the team to get here, I can take some enemies out. Saw that guy and figured, well, a teammate's getting close, so might as well fight this crafted scion. So that way my teammate can get here and we can take him out together. And then we can go for the church. And if I do really poorly and need to refill my flasks, then I can just run to the church and refill my flasks like that. So it was actually the Undertaker. I thought that it was Wilder with me, but it was not. Here, I decided to go with more HP because more HP is good. And while the Elven Orc bow is also good, I've never seen anyone go into the tunnels on this map. And we have plenty of opportunity to get a better bow. And even if we don't, I can just buy a smithing stone 1. So it's fine. Here didn't see anything useful, so decided to move on. And I still don't really know this map. Vertical maps just break my brain. I cannot figure them out for the life of me. So if a teammate was willing to lead, I was happy to follow. Because I tend to slowly absorb information, like through osmosis. And while back, like to the right and up, there's a possible spawn location. I didn't check that because I wanted to stick close to the teammate. Didn't want to fall too far behind. As you can see, another great crystal shatters. So those are Wilder putting in good work. And I decided he's going after a boss, so I'm gonna run after him and hopefully help him out if he hasn't killed the boss already. Boss still at half health, just going to phase 2, so got the marking and a lot of fire. But we killed the boss and I saw a horn bow, that's a better bow, and the secondary effect boosts my bow damage, so I'll happily take that. Heard of this, so decided to go for him. And just continue on. And yeah, since we were here, we could just hit the church very quickly. And that church spawn is one that I normally miss because it gets swallowed up on day 2. So it was good to get that. But here, decided to move on. Just wanted to double check my weapons real quick. And mark and dead. And then physical damage negation. Always happy to take more of those. And here, as I said, just following teammates. And they seem to not be too sure on where to go, so decided to pop that. Clear out most of the room. And teammates decided to run, so we followed. Saw that I wasn't sure if we would be able to get to it in time. Saw that they were pinning, but that's just where you end up for the Night 2 boss, so not going there. Instead, we would continue over to this main crystal in the middle of the map. Those like dark blue purpley crystals that you have to interact with to shatter. They have certain preset spawns. They don't spawn in the same location every time, but they have certain preset spawns. And you need to shatter a certain amount before you can get access to this. And as you can see there, it does 2 things. The first is it allows you to go near the 2 cursed towers without losing half your health bar. And the second thing is that if you run completely out of flasks, it'll give you your ult once. Which is kind of neat. Something I don't take advantage of. Here, saw Rot and decided to go with that. And picked up Wilder's Greatsword because emotional support weapon. And saw Putrid Avatar, but also saw that the rain was moving in. And heard that, so decided to go for him. But I didn't think that we had time. The perfect talisman for us. But yeah, I just didn't think we had time for the Putrid Avatar, which is why I jumped down. But I didn't want to just stand around. So decided to look around, hopefully find some enemies. And as you can tell, I really don't know this map well at all. So decided to just jump down, since this is where we're gonna have to be anyways. And thought to look around. Now, in the complete opposite direction, in the complete opposite direction there were some enemies. And if I knew the map just a little bit better, I would have known that. So, like I said, simply don't know the map well. But I will learn. Through time and practice, I will slowly absorb the information. No matter how long it takes. Decided to pick that up just because the pulley bow is very nice. It's one of my favorite weapons to get when I'm not playing Iron Eye. And I thought someone might appreciate it. For the day 3 fight. If I decide to hold on to it all the way until then. But yeah, these little shadow guys buff the flies. So my main goal is to go for them first. Then we can take out the flies. And almost got shot there. But they come before the Curse Blade and Divine Beast Warrior. And I was very surprised that I hit them. Now, as you can see, things get very shadowy and kinda hard to see. But that goes away once you kill the Curse Blade. So my suggestion for this boss is to have one person, like, just keep the attention of the Divine Beast Warrior and have the other 2 people kill the Curse Blade. Curse Blade can be kind of difficult to kill because of how fast and maneuverable they are, but Iron Eye with a bow doesn't really care about that, so Iron Eye is great for the Curse Blades. Here, improved thrusting counterattack because arrows do that, and we got a decent few levels. Here, just decided to wait a little bit in order to take less damage from the rain. And then decided to follow the Wilder because I tend to have a lot of faith in Wilders. And I didn't know where this was, and I'm very glad that I decided to turn around instead of continuing to move forward. There you could see shadows kind of go around the sides of the screen for a second. That's the game telling you that you've gotten within the boundaries of the Cursed Tower. And so if you didn't get the main circle, the main crystal thing in the middle of the map, if you didn't get that, you'd be at half health. But here, the team went back for the putrid avatar that they were fighting in, like, evening 1. And we killed him. And I saw Black Bow that also does rot. So that's just a direct upgrade to the weapon I had before. And also the Black Bow just looks really good. So, there's that. There was also the Magma curved sword that also had a rot. And I was baffled by just how many rot weapons there are. Decided to shoot these enemies. And there, as you can see, another Albinorc bow with a rot. Just so many rot weapons. I didn't understand. I mean, I'll take it because rot is a good status effect, but just baffling. Here, just sitting back, not too far back, nearly dying because I wasn't looking at the other cleaner at night. Yeah, just normal, basic Iron Eye gameplay. Apply the mark, sit close but not too close, and shoot. And then their improved dodging is good. Improved range is very nice. So I was happy that my teammate did that. As you can see, I'm full up. And yeah, I have 2 weapons that aren't useful to me, but they're good emotional support weapons. But I'd still rather take improved dodging, specifically because the worm had some attacks that were very difficult to dodge. And Frozen Needle. Another one of my favorite weapons, actually. And then here you can see me just really struggling to get up. Yeah, I don't know why, but I just have a massive soft spot for, like, cool, unique weapons that aren't really that strong. And the Frozen Needle fits that very well. Because the heavy attack shoots out a little projectile. There you can see that both teammates got hit by that grab attack, which made me chuckle. Yeah, the Frozen Needle, another rot weapon, another Frozen Needle, another rot weapon. A lot of rot weapons. Yeah, Frozen Needle is like a reinterpretation on a Dark Souls 2 weapon, I've heard. And it was rude, but it was very popular, or at least seen as very powerful in Dark Souls 2, but not here in Elden Ring. I think because of a mix of the enemies and bosses in Elden Ring being a lot more difficult, mixed with the fact that there's just a lot more you can do in Elden Ring. Like, in Dark Souls 2, you didn't really have skills, whereas now you do. And there's a lot of very powerful skills. And so, the power creep made a once powerful weapon seem very mediocre. But I still like it. Here, I saw that there was a thing there, but I wasn't sure on how to get to it, so I decided to just continue follow them. The Undertaker. But then I got kind of an idea. But they dropped a pin and I figured, yeah, I'd rather, because I don't know the map, I'd rather not run off on my own, trying to figure out some path to that. I'd rather just follow my teammate who drops a pin and hope that they know what they're doing. And they did. it meant being in the rain for a bit. But I got another talisman out of it. Not a great talisman, but another talisman. And here, I was sure I was dead. But, I was not. And, as I said, as I said earlier, I was just kind of talking to myself as if I wasn't muted. But kind of glad that I was muted, because I was talking about how I'm the best for that, and like I'm the GOAT. No one does it like me. And then this right here is why I decided to keep the entire run in. Because I could not figure out how to get over there. Like, I tried. But, whew, I just could not figure it out. It was really embarrassing. And, I mean, hey, they filled a great enemy. Completely without me. So good on them. Like I said, vertical maps just break my brain. I am completely incapable of understanding vertical maps. And right around here, I was going to fight them, but I got shot in the back of the head with a fireball. And I decided I'd rather not deal with both those things at the same time. So I was thinking maybe I look down and there will be like a way to get back up, or there will be like a spirit spring jump. And right around getting hit by that enemy, I went, oh no. If I try that, I'm going to get even more lost. Looking at this now, there's a spirit spring jump on the map, so maybe that could have gotten me up. Or there was one of those, like, hawk summoning things where you put your arm up, you get the spirit hawk, and it flies you. Maybe that'll do it. Like, maybe one of those two things could get me up there. But at this point, I just gave up and went, I'm just gonna kill some enemies here. Be as useful as I can. Having completely failed to get to the team. They failed another great enemy. So they were putting in work, and I was completely lost. As I said, I now have actually three ideas, because there's another Spirit Spring jump right next to it. So I now have three ideas on how to get up there. Haven't tested them out yet, so I don't know. But at the time, I did not take... During the run, I did not take the time to actually look at the map and figure it out, so that was me not using my brain. Although, like, I play Iron Eye, so if you expected me to use my brain, then I'm sorry. But those expectations were a bit too high. Because you're just showing what I had. But yeah, Iron Eye and using brain don't tend to go together. Iron Eye is the I want to win without actually thinking or learning character. And by golly, does it work most of the time. Not always, but most of the time it works. Surprisingly well. He's just such a strong character. There, I could see him teleport. Yeah, here just unfortunately waiting because my brain didn't work when it needed to. I couldn't find a way to get to him. So that was a little unfortunate, but still level 15, 130k. So I was happy with that. I was happy with what the team was able to do. I was happy with my buffs. Like I said, Undertaker went down right at the very beginning of day one. But one bad thing isn't enough for me to throw. Not nearly enough. I mean, I never throw. If a run goes really bad, then I'll stop trying. But I don't throw. But one down at the very beginning, that's not enough to make me lose hope. Because, like I said, some people just kind of forget. I wasn't sure what they were trying to show here. I simply didn't know, and I kinda stopped caring. But, yeah, this is your semi-normal reminder to have faith in your teammates. Even if they go down at the very beginning of day one, that's them doing a... well, probably, hopefully, them doing a quick underestimation of their own health. And that is something they will probably, hopefully, fix very quickly. Like I said, that's something I do sometimes when I'm not playing Iron Eye. So, just give him a second chance. And did this to avoid 2 in the heals. It's sadly not enough to avoid all 3 in the heals, but it is enough. Like, if you hold it, it's enough to get through 2, which is most of the damage. And as you can see here, we're kind of just destroying the boss. I mean, I really underestimated the range on a few attacks. And as much as Mo tried to kill me, he just couldn't. Because I'm Iron Eye. The you pick this character to win guy. And we won. And as usual, physical damage negation, always a good thing, always helps. Unless you're someone who just never takes damage, but I'm not that guy. So, Crimson Burst, my beloved. Figured I could pick those up, because why not? I've got the runes. Personally, I'd prefer Opaline for the I don't really remember the name, but the like white one that gets you more defense. I know exactly. I don't remember its name, but I know exactly where to get it in base Elden Ring. You get it from the Putrid Avatar in the Dragon Barrow, very close to the Great Bridge near the Bestial Sanctum. For some reason, I just can't remember names. I know where to get stuff, I just don't remember what the stuff is called. That is something very consistent about me. I don't do names. Locations, I can do that. Effects, I can do that. What's good, I can do that. How to fight a boss, I can do that. It's just names that get me. Here, big scary move, but roll spam is even scarier. And so, here, yeah, they like, at first, I thought that they bit their thumb, like Aaron Yeager, but zooming in there, I realized that I think that they rip their face off instead. Yeah, that attack, or that combo rather, is pretty scary, but it took like 40% of her health. And also, you can just surge sprint away. I didn't know it at the time of this recording, like the gameplay recording. But yeah, you can just surge sprint away from that. So it's not that scary once you know what to do. And as I said, I only fought this boss like 6 times or so. So it's not like I have a ton of experience. And while I can be a quick learner sometimes, I'm not a consistently quick learner, and I'm not the quickest of learners, so... And there you can see, I even tried marking through it as he went for me. But even the mark didn't give me enough iframes. Going to the side might be it. Maybe surge sprinting to the side. Like locking off and surge sprinting to the side. There, as you could see, I was losing health before the blood loss. But yeah, the worm comes, takes a bunch of healing, and then you get back to the easy part. So, just hope that you have the DPS to burn the boss's health down before you get the worm too many times. And yeah, that combo is scary, which is why I popped ult, to just iframe through it and stun him out of it. And yeah, that attack has a bit more range than I think. Which is why I've been hit by it multiple times. Also, yeah, they have a different grab attack in this bloody form. and the grab attack is very different and a lot harder to dodge compared to the normal version, where they just fly up into the air and then come down at a very reasonable speed. And yeah, you can kind of tell the worm is coming because your screen zooms out. And there, again, I tried to mark through it and it just was not enough. But thankfully that attack is pretty easy to roll through. That attack is very scary though. But we got out of it unscathed almost entirely because the boss wasn't looking at me. And then once the boss did look at me, we no longer got out unscathed. However, those 2 golden beams, I got pretty good at dodging those close range. But here, thankfully I noticed just in time that they were chunking my health down. Here decided to run over to this guy to hopefully get him back up. Decided to put them between me and the bloody angels. And as I said, when they sprint at you like that, it's very easy to tell that they're just going to do the double poke once they get close enough, which makes it very easy to mark through. And there, they went down. Balance disrupted, and a victory. So, got to take a breath, enjoy the victory. But I was just a little frazzled because of how much they were. But I remembered, oh yeah, we can go in and look at the reward. So, decided to go do that. And here I'll say, I like them. They're not my favorite, but I do like them. I feel like if you got rid of the worm, I would like them significantly more. But maybe that's just because I haven't learned the worm yet. So maybe learning the worm will make me like them more. But as of right now, I can see these and saw that there's a lot of these, so decided to pick them up because why not? I have the Sovereign Sigils. But out of the 7 Everdark Sovereign versions, I'd say they're somewhere in the middle, like 3 or 4. So they're okay, they're fun, but they're not my favorite. Here, improved melee attack power, improved skill attack power, and occasionally nullify attacks when damage negation is lowered. This could either be when your damage negation is lowered or when their damage negation is lowered. I'm not entirely sure which, but I personally prefer the other one of continuously restore FP because infinite FP is kind of nice, especially for those longer fights. So, reward isn't great, but the boss was fun, and it was fun to learn. Just not a fan of the worm. But, yeah.